So why don't we start off with just how are you doing with everything going on with COVID? How are you doing? How are things going?
Yeah, we're actually doing, I think, pretty well considering obviously our transaction volume is down, but we're actually hanging in there because we've got a lot of agreements directly with corporations where they pay, more on a subscription model than a transaction-based model. So that's keeping our revenue fairly consistent. Obviously, the travel agency revenue is way down because that tends to be more transactional. We've had to renegotiate deals with clients to give them some relief and so on, through the crisis. But they're hanging in there. And I guess the silver lining is that because of rate volatility being so high, we're generating just a lot of savings for the clients. It feels like almost every booking. It used to be 10 to 15% of the time we'd find savings. We've had some peaks and valleys about 35% of the time. We'll find a lower rate. And so it's just keeping the value there, which keeps the revenue coming and keeps everybody happy. So we're doing all right.
Good. So, we call this tea time. So we have to ask the question, what are you drinking? And show us your choice of drinking thing. So I'm doing tea with an official Tripbam Yeti mug.
Yeah. And I'm using the Tripbam teacup, I guess you could say. I did have the PredictX teacup that you guys so kindly sent, but I thought this would be more fun. And I'm drinking the chai tea, I think, out of that set that you sent me. So it's good stuff.
Good, good. So you and I both are in the data space as well. And the beauty of what I said, some of the information that you collect is very unique. And then your ability at which to provide these great insights to the customer. What we do is we aggregate everything. So we have the insights of the total trip to match up with, and you're one of the sources that we can aggregate from. But can you talk a little bit more about what you think the role of data is going to be going forward, especially in kind of this recovery phase where we have no historical data of which to help guide us?
Yeah. I think just using data to make sure your hotel program is trending in the right direction is really important. Because you can make a couple of changes, let's go renegotiate deals and take whatever we can get, or just leave it where it is. And then you're kind of blind if you don't have data to know how that's impacting your spend. So for example, just looking at data right now, we can tell a client, well, most of your hotels in the past were graded at an A or B level. You're getting your discounts and the discounts are good. Now they're mostly Ds and Fs because the market has dropped by 35%. The discount that you had before that was 25, which was good, is no longer good. It's a negative 10. You're overpaying if they book your negotiated rate. So having some awareness into that helps them drive their strategy and decision going forward. And as we talked about earlier, okay, so what do? Well, you can't go static, really, because nobody knows what volume is going to be or what the average daily rates are going to look like. And so it's just a big unknown. So even if you accept a static, you got to have a bunch of data to see whether it's actually providing value. And then if you want to go dynamic, you got to make sure that the dynamic's getting applied correctly and the discounts are really coming off bar and all that. And LRA is being really accounted for. And so that's where the data, I think, will have the most value going forward, is in a dynamic program, just helping you grade these hotels, just to have the confidence that that decision you made was the right one. And whether you need to shift back. No one's saying going dynamic, you can't go static later. All we're saying is in a high rate volatility market, which we think we're going to be in for the next 2.5 years, if not longer, let's go dynamic now. You'll probably like it long term. And then if for whatever reason things stabilize dramatically and everybody can predict volumes and ADR, then maybe you slide back to static if you can get even more of a discount as a result. And again, I think data and benchmarking and analytics, is just really going to give travel managers the confidence to make those decisions.